I can hear Dan real well that time. Not quite direct yet. Jerry over here in Greenwood, Indiana, in the old military radio net. Starting to hear some signals a little bit better, but it's still up and down. And yeah, Steve, boy, what a comment on that, on the anniversary, happy anniversary. And don't forget that, because I've done that a time or two. I'm sure you have too. Somehow the girls don't seem to understand as much as we do. Anyway, so that's good to hear, and congratulations again. And I'd like to put another receiving antenna up for mornings like this, because boy, what a difference it does make. It just the listening fatigue is just fatigue. I had the gain back on the and the rejection tuning in play, and it's helping quite a bit, but it's still there. Anyway, good morning to you, Glen. I'll be sending it to you next, and the MMR, good morning. And I think hopefully Glen heard you, and he might be able to get it to you back around to Ted then at that point. And Charlie, if you had gold at our hard time, well, hopefully, you'll get that done quick and get into your new location and get that marked off the list. We had a neighbor here. She put it on the market. In 2 days, that thing was gone. So we're in kind of an attractive area, but we're not big houses. We're just standard older ranches, not like the property, but they're old mature trees, 1 acre lots, and for in town. And the old stone and brick type, 1800 square foot ranches. And it's just an area that people like, the school system and all that good stuff. And so we, that time, for once in my life, picked the right neighborhood. And I've had people driving by here stop and want to know if we wanted to sell. So hopefully that trend holds up and we're ready to do that. And of course, probably when we get ready to sell, it'll be just the market will fall apart. And here we said, so I'm looking forward to your new spot and how and what you do with antennas there. So, all right, let's see, Glen. Gee, hopefully you're hearing me okay. You were up real good and then down real good. I was concerned that maybe this I was need to do another alignment on it, but it's like maybe it come in and it didn't demodulate so well, so I'm just for experience. That's proper Ted, and back around to Ted. Military radio. This is K9GAS.
Guys, get me checked in. KB3R.
On the Airmail SP600 here, things seem to be clearing up quite a bit there. And Steve, a very, very good copy that last time around there. Sounded really good. And it's good morning to Will, who is listening at his at the command post there, somewhere out there. Good morning to you, Will. And we're just experiencing some rough conditions here. It seems to be clearing up, though, gradually as we go on. And getting our routine, kind of monitoring its behavior. Yeah, it looks pretty good here on its mode earlier on, so I wasn't putting out the maximum horsepower. The front panel is quite faded here, so I had to use a flashlight to see the in the tune position, run over to the operating position, and we kicked in the floor barrel there. So about 100 watts out, SWRs like 1.5, and modulation seems to be kicking forward okay here. Yesterday, I got home from work. A beautiful day here. Within an hour, it looked like a steam fog was moving. Blocked out the sun. Dropped down to about 70 degrees. And just a change in the weather so drastically, but really not weather, just the fog coming in. So looking forward, I believe we're going to get some rain towards maybe Sunday or on Monday there. Hey, we'll have to wait and see. But major projects here, just been working on the Jeep, trying to get as much as I can get done on that with the time restrictions. Making some progress there, and the big job is going to be painting all the body parts there, and well, we'll see how that works out. Other than that, there's plenty of other items that have to be refurbished or replaced, and I mean, it's like 7 years now I've been working on this, so it just it controls you after a while. Still working, not retired. Time's in short supply, so we do what we can do, and then relax a little bit also. But anyway, signals are coming up very nicely, and I heard Tom in there. He is making preparations for a move, and wish him all the luck there. And real estate market here is especially hot in Rhode Island, especially along the coastal areas. But when the economy is good, that's what you see. So hopefully we'll keep that trend going. So with that, I'm going to send it back to Ted, and he can get the next one in line there. I have lost track of the order of check-ins. I think Perry W3MMR has checked in. So anyway, I'm going to send it back to Ted and see how things go there. W3 PWW SNG, over.
WB2JW, good morning, Ted.
W3MMR, go ahead.
W3PWW, the military radio net, W3MMR. Just getting everything fired up here, a little under the weather this morning. I don't know if I have an ear infection or what, but whatever it is, it doesn't feel good. But anyway, good morning to you, Ted. Good morning, Jerry, out in Indiana. Big signal over here in eastern Pennsylvania, Chester, Pennsylvania, about southwest of Philadelphia. Good morning to you, Glen, and 1SNG, big signal as always. I'll keep moving around and listen out for a little bit until the next go around. But Charlie, not great signal this morning, Charlie, but definitely making it through the hash and trash. There's no doubt about that. And I heard KB3RHR out there in western Pennsylvania tried checking in as well. I don't know if anybody heard him, but I was able to pick him up. A little late this morning, but nevertheless, still making the trip. Anyway, back over to you, Ted. Good morning, everyone. W3PWW in the old military radio net, W3MMR.
N1GTY. J1G. Okay, copy AJ1G. Go ahead, Chris. Next one.
WB2JWU checked in.
AJ1G, go ahead.
Alpha Juliet 1 Golf, Alpha Juliet 1 Golf.
Go ahead, Chris. Ted said make one. AJ1G W3MMR.
WB2JWU. Go ahead, Pete.
W3PWW at the Old Military Radio Net, WB2JWU. Well, good morning to everyone from a rainy central New Hampshire. About 65 degrees here. I think we're in for a rainy, wet day. Got back last week from our annual Cape May, New Jersey trip. We had great weather down there. Very little rain. What we did have was at night, so that works just fine. And the beach weather was great as usual. So, not too much radio work here since we've gotten back, catching up on a lot of around-the-house projects. So, we get more into fall here, and it's feeling a little bit like fall here the last couple days, only in the low 70s after a very warm July. We'll be getting into more radio projects. So, not too much more here for this go-around. We'll see who's in there. Some of the New England stations are starting to come up. Good morning to you, Glen. Your signal came up nicely during your transmission. Very good on continuing the Jeep project. Yes, these projects expand to fill the available time, as the saying goes. So back to you, Ken. WWW and the Old Military Radio Net, WB2JWU.
Okay, I guess he turned it over. Okay. All right, let's go back up to the top. Have K4FNY, KD4UMU, KD3HT, K9GAS, N1SNG, W3MMR, AJ1G, and WB2JWU. K4FNY, W3PWW in the net. Go ahead, Charlie. K4FNY, go ahead.
Okay, Ted, that's W4PWW. K4FNY, well, things are starting to calm down a little bit here, Ted. It's just starting to subside. It's been like life. I'm not anybody else. You know, so good sign, it could be bad. Anyway, Ted, I don't go ahead and pull out. And try it again. Thank you for calling the nest this morning, Ted. I really enjoyed it. And I do enjoy operating the So, Dan, before you didn't net, K4FNY.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. Catch you next week. Go ahead, Dan.
Very good there, Ted. And hey, good morning to Perry up there. We're shooting Perry quite nicely down here to Kentucky. And I'll also copy Chris there as well. Didn't get much out of Steve's signal there, WB2JWU, but hey, you know, you guys are in the Northeast are just getting into the gray line, so you know, I would say most of your signals probably heading out into the Atlantic instead of down in this direction. But as the sun comes up, things are going to really change pretty quickly here. So hopefully we'll get some attenuation of the noise coming from the west tomorrow. I think the guys over in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas, that whole area is just covered up with lightning strikes. Just a big, huge swath coming through there. So, was hearing a little bit of audio out of Charlie's station now. And maybe, like I say, as Gray is up down here, maybe change and go back the other way as well.
and heard quite a bit better signal out of the gas band over there, KNGAS. So sounds like we'll get some better conditions here just shortly. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. There's a pretty good little bump getting in here now. So we'll send it around to Steve, KD3HT in the group from KD4UMU.
Okay, very good, Dan. Good copy here. Hearing most stations directly, and some are getting chopped up in the noise a little bit, but still copying everybody. Good morning to you, Perry, Pete, Chris, wherever he went, and I don't know if Ted hears me, but Perry had mentioned that KB3RHR was trying to check in, KB3RHR, and John, W4HWT, should also be back. I'll leave that to send around. But yeah, we can see the first hints of daylight here. Glen's signal came out of the noise and back up when I heard you early, pre-net. I heard some syllables out of you, and then that was about it. But the tune position will get you every time. You don't want the tune position. So glad that you resolved that issue. And let's see, what other comments here? Not much to add. Pete, good to have you back. It sounds like you had a wonderful time down in Cape May. So get all your wood stacked and ready now for the upcoming event of the next season in line. But I don't want to make that a headline yet because we still have a lot of August to go. And of course, next month will be nice for the MRCA meet in Gilbert. So let's see what other things to comment on. That's about it. We'll move it on down the roads. Johnny, you're next up. K9GAS, KD3HT.
Good morning, KK1K.
Words for the anniversary.
KYD.
K9GAS.
Yeah, I think I heard that KK1K this morning. I think it might have been somebody else. I think you got those tags. So, very good. Good morning, G. Charlie. 73 Studio. Boy, band was up and down. They said you won that couple of time. And good morning, Harry. I wasn't on the screen, but I think it's been so long since I was doing your dad in the early mornings, it just slipped my mind. But pretty nice signal here at Indianapolis area. Good morning to, I think Chris was in there, AJ1G. Hearing you on Mike 3FEF SCR. And Pete, I hope I got your call right. Whiskey Bravo 2 Juliet. Whiskey United. I think that may be right. Get things down in my log properly. I want to heard I better start writing these things while so I'll get a chance to come in here again. But pretty good signals all the way around, but a bit tough. Static crashes are getting a bit stronger, but I think that's just one of the cells is getting closer. Surprisingly, I don't hear them as much when the weather's in. It's usually when they now my antenna just favors that way for the static crashes more. All right, well, let's see. I'm giving it to anyone FNG. Glen, pass the rotation over to you. I'll probably make them work. See, let me see how the round goes, and then I think it'll be about my time for some breakfast. My grandmother made a apple pie, and I can hear it calling my name. And Dan, I wish I was closer. 150 tomatoes. My wife and I would be more than happy to help eat those. Anyway, Glen, here's your SNG. This is K9. Going after snakes. Golf Alpha Sierra. For those that maybe not get my call flag right, this is Joey in Greenwood, Indiana. Over to you, Glen, on the old Radio Net.
Yeah, K9GAS, Jerry, N1SNG. Yeah, just pounding in here, Jerry. Beautiful signal and a very, very, very pleasant audio. So good to have you in here this morning. And the apple pie sounds delicious. I can't remember when I had my last piece, so I might have to put that on the list. And maybe a scoop of vanilla ice cream right next to it, so that might sound even better. But yeah, signals are pulling through quite well at this time. It's much improved. Again, we've been idling at 100 watts here. Prior to that, I think I was pushing the R13 just a little bit too much. So we're going to keep things somewhat limited to 100 watts here, and that'll be the maximum output, and not to put too much pressure on the older electronics. And a very good morning to Pete, WB2JWU, up in the North Country there, getting some rain. Yeah, I think there's a time of year when we detect some a little bit of kind of fall weather or change in the weather pattern. We're looking for some rain probably at the beginning of the week, maybe Sunday. Coastal forecasts are very tough. But we'll see what we can do and keep outdoor activities going as much as we can. And I just was wiring up an LED light. I picked up a LED 4-foot, brand new in the box, kind of a shop light. So I was just wiring that up in the back with a cord I can plug in. I want to try it in different areas of the house to see how much I can illuminate. See what the best deal is, the LED or the old T8 fluorescence. But it was $5, and I just plugged it in, and I might be able to get rid of a couple of those fluorescent lights there. This one is pretty intense, so we'll see how that works out. A little more efficient, and buy a couple more to replace what I have in the garage. So we'll have to wait and see. Sometimes yard sailing does pay off. And when it's new in the box, it's even better. Yep. Must sell everything. So keep it rolling along here. I think it's going to go over to Perry. I think that was the next one in line there. Good morning to you, Perry. Nice signals into Rhode Island. So over to you, Perry. W3MMR to take it. N1SNG. Over.
All right, Glen, N1SNG and the old military radio net, W3MMR. Big signal, Glen, booming in. Real big signal on the R13 this morning. Sounded real good. Everybody sounded real good. Light copy on you, Steve, KD3HT. But we are a little close, and I do have a high noise level, unfortunately, but still great to hear you, Steve, as always. And Jerry, K9GAS, yeah, that's, me and my father haven't been on early mornings here on AM as much as we used to. I've been working. I've been back to work now for a few months, so I don't get on quite as much as I used to in the mornings. I just do a lot. I do a lot more listening in the mornings while I'm getting ready, as opposed to getting everything fired up, sitting down, and not wanting to get back up out of the operating chair. You know, so I kind of make it easier on myself and just do a bunch of listening in the AM here on 75 meters. But nevertheless, great signal, Jerry. Big signal. Great audio as always. It's a pleasure Pleasure to hear you. And thanks for the signal report, Dan. KD4UMU, big signal up this way as well. Sounding great this morning. Always a big signal up this way, and it's always a pleasure to hear you. And be able to put the broken spoke on you, as they say, here on the old military radio net this morning. Charlie, your signal's still hanging in there as well. And everybody is anywhere from S9 to 15 to 20 over. So, unfortunately, my noise level is about an S8 to an S9. Where I live here in the city, there's not much I can do about it. But 9 times out of 10, everybody's able to get over it. What else do I have here? Good to hear you this morning, Chris, AJ1G. Hope you're enjoying the retirement. My friend, as always, it's good to hear you. And good morning to you, Pete, WB2JWU. Great signal, as always. So we'll keep it moving around here. We're just on the SDR this morning. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm not going to get the old gear fired up. That's why I have this SDR. It's easy. Turn it on, press a button, and set it and forget it. And running an AL80 amplifier here at about 150 watts of carrier into half-wave inverted V up about 40 feet. So I'll turn it over to you, Chris. I'm pretty sure that's who I turn it to. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I'm all hopped up on trying to get ready for my day there at the salt mine. So over to you, Chris. AJ1G in the old military radio net. This is W3 MMR.
Okay, very good, Perry, W3 MMR, the old military radio net. AJ1G, very nice signal here this morning. And the band has switched. Everyone is coming in nicely locally here. On the Central Electronics 20A and 600L, it's pretty cool. It's probably down in the low 60s here. And like everybody else, we've been having some nice, relatively nice weather of late this week. So 2 weeks into retirement now, and it's been great. It's been busy, but it's been great. And it hasn't involved any work-related work, but a lot of yard work and a lot of watering, and I think maybe someone referenced Kevin maybe having hundreds of tomatoes. We're about in that mode now. We've got the kitchen full of them right now. We're at the tidal wave is hit this week, and we are washing tomatoes from our 26 plants. Diane spent a good amount of the day yesterday pruning them all up, getting rid of some of the older growth that's gone by, and lots of tomatoes in, and many, many more coming in. So we'll be making salsa. We'll be making tomatoes with mozzarella. We've been having that every week, or every day pretty much this week. And little cherry tomatoes especially, they're really good with the mozzarella and the fresh basil out of the garden and some other fresh herbs out of the garden. A little vinaigrette. It's a great side for a steak. Had steak 3 nights in a row. So life is good. And yesterday wasn't so good, but it was a productive day. I had to change the starter on my 2012 Tacoma. Glen, I wonder if you've had any issues with your starter on your older one. It started getting flaky. It seemed like it was probably due to sitting. I haven't been driving the truck much since I've been home. And earlier this week, I went to start it, and it acted like it had a dead battery. I charged the battery, and the next day, verified there were no parasitic drains in like, a light on somewhere. And I actually took current readings. From the battery to a otherwise shut down car.
word of caution for anyone who does that, watch out for the fuel pump. I think I blew a fuse on the lope there. I've got one of these fairly decent little Harbor Freight multimeters, and then for current it has a 200 milliamp and lower ranges are fused. And then there's a 20 amp range that's not fused, and apparently at some point I put it in the 200 milliamp range, and the starting surge of the fuel pump when it first kicks in to charge the fuel rail must have popped the fuse. It still works fine in the 200 milliamp range, and it's sensitive down to lower currents, but something to watch out for. Lesson learned. At any rate, it looks like it was bad contacts in the starter. I went on Tacoma World, and apparently they get that way. Put in a rebuilt starter yesterday. Went fairly easily, but of the 2.5 hours it took to do, about 90% of that time was getting the one effing bolt out. There's always the one effing bolt. Effing bolt. That's pronounced Foxtrot ampersand, to be politically correct. Anyhow, that was one real pain in the ass to get a wrench on. I had to break it loose with a crescent, the offset, the closed end. Needed all of the offset I could, but I could only get like one flat at a time out of that. And eventually, once it came loose, I was able to get my fingers on it. Even that was tough. But otherwise, it went very well, and everything seems fine now. Debating whether to keep the old one and put new contacts in, and be kind of curious to see how they look, or turn it back in for their core charge. I might, in fact, keep it. I might keep it. But at any rate, I've been rambling on long enough here. Everyone else is doing quite well now here. Great signals. So let's see. Over to, I think it's Pete. And Pete, you and one of my work buddies must be on the same vacation schedule down at Cape May, because he was on vacation this past week, and I suspect that's where he was. I haven't talked to him, but I remember last year he was down at Cape May the same weekend you were, as a family from the Allentown area that all gets together down there in Cape May every summer. So over to you, Pete. WB2JWU, AJ1G.
AJ1G and the old military radio, and that WB2JWU. Okay, Chris, very good. Well, your friend had a good week down there weather-wise, so hopefully he was there at that time and enjoyed the beautiful weather. Congratulations on your retirement, 2 weeks in, and now you have time for projects like changing the starter on the truck. That sounds like that was an exercise in frustration, getting that one bolt out. Steve, good morning to you. Congratulations to you and Joan on your anniversary. So, wonder how many years that's been. So, on the ARC 38 this morning, the van's a little bit noisy, but everybody's making it through except for Charlie at the top of the list. He was very light here. So I guess propagation is finally starting to shorten up. So, this may be the last round. If so, 73 to everybody. Have a good weekend. Hopefully, everybody won't be getting the rain we're getting here in central New Hampshire. Ted, I'm going to turn it over to Dean, and Dean, you can turn it back to Ted. So, KK1K and the old military radio, that WB2JWU.
Okay, fine, Pete. WB2JWU. This is KK1K. Good morning to all. About 71 degrees here, and it looks like another beautiful day. We've been enjoying some very nice weather. I've Pete, I just, not just, but in the past few weeks, bought a replacement for my plow truck. So I've got a Dodge Ram truck. I thought of you. I'm thinking about what I want to do to keep it from rusting away. But I'm doing a little work on that, getting it ready for to make sure that it is. The other plow truck was just a yard truck, and this should be roadworthy. So I'm trying to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed as far as the state inspection goes. It's always an exciting time, but it's taken up a little bit of our time, along with just keeping the ranch going here. So we're busy. Spent a week over in the Adirondacks last week, but the prior week, and worked a few stations there from our campsite, both on 60 meters and on 3570. And Ted, we missed you last Sunday night. I'm not sure whether signals that you were in a storm or what was going on there, but we did have a few of the devoted followers did show up Sunday night, and we had a brief net. And again, hope all is well with your stuff on that end. So, if this is the last round, I'll just say good morning to all, and Ted, thanks for calling the net. And again, we're enjoying a wonderful summer and kind of thinking it's going to last forever. W3PWW and the Milrad net. This is KK1K.
WB28.
Okay, D, very good. KK1K, W3PWW, and the old military radio net. Okay, on the last weekend, no, we were not here. We were out of town, so just not anywhere close here to do the net procedures. So we'll be back this weekend, and back on 3570. Okay, we're down to the end of the list. Let's try to make one more quick round before we close. Conditions have not improved very much as far as the static level goes, so some of the stations are still difficult to copy. Let's try to make one more round here before we close, and then we'll shut down. So it'll be KD4UMU, KD3HT, K9GS. I know, Jerry, you want to cut out also. After K9GS, BN1SNG, W3MMR, AJ1G, WB2JW, and KK1K. KD4UMU, W3PWW, the net, go ahead.
Put me in the book, KD3RHR.
WB2HJK.
RHR, give me your full call, over.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't want to put my phone. No, it's KB3RHR.
Okay, KB3RHR. Got it. Okay, you'll be after KK1K. KD4UMU, go ahead.
WB2HJK.
Okay, John, very good.
The band's starting to smooth out a little bit. Those static lightning crashes from out west are starting to subside a little bit as the gray line approaches down here. And also, good morning to Craig up there. Sounding good down here too. Tim Tuffy, KB3RHR. So, tried to hear you there on the 20-meter band there last Wednesday. Evidently we were too close. So, but I did hear Robert W0BLC and a lot of the guys from down in Florida who were booming in up here on AM there on the 20-meter band. So, good time there Wednesday. Couldn't hear everybody, but those who we did hear nice copy up here in Kentucky. So, what I did was Robert was coming in. Was running, well, I don't know if you want to call it net control, but at least one of the moderators or whatever you want to call him, several out there, yourself and others. So I was just running up the log pool attic up on Robert. Was able to hear him pretty good. And still yet, the guys from Florida, 20, 30 over off of the antenna. So, you never know what you're going to get as far as HF conditions there. Anyway, with that, sitting here listening to, like I say, the static subside, and good to hear all of the stations on this morning. Ted, I do need to get up and run over here on this end, so go ahead and check me out. We'll listen out for around here. So I didn't catch who to send it to next, so I'll throw it back up to your collection there, Ted. W3PW, no Bellstar Home, at 23 from Kentucky. Here is KD4UMU.
Okay, Dan, very good. Thanks for all your help with the relays and stuff there. Really appreciate it. And let's look for better conditions. Next up, KD3HT. Go ahead.
Yeah, very good, Ted. W3PWW and the old military radio net. KD3HT. Steve here in Northeast Pennsylvania running a T368C, listening on a SDR Airs by HF Plus receiver here. And hearing all stations good now. Pete, very strong signal here from the ARC 38. Good piercing audio, as Glen would say, armor-piercing audio coming right through. And all together, hearing everybody just fine. Charlie, if you're still listening, 73. I neglected to say that before. Hope some action happens on the house. And John, W4HWT, have a great week. We'll look forward to hearing you hopefully next week. And yeah, Perry, you're probably hearing me now. We're just too close. I have to listen on the one of the SDR receivers remotely in order to hear you. But you're sounding good. Hope you feel better. Unfortunately, working and not feeling good is not two things that go together well. And Dean, good hearing you. Good signal here into the Poconos. And last, RHR, my name again is Steve, and you're sounding good here. I'm on the other side of the state, I guess, up near Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. So with that, it looks like I can turn it to Jerry. I think Jerry's still there. So if it's not Jerry, then it goes over to you, Perry. So K9GAS, no, I think he said he was going to go. I'll try it anyway. K9GAS, and then Ted, please pick it up if he doesn't. This is KD3HT. Thanks, Ted, for running the net.
It sounds like the band is changing here. Listening to you guys on K3FEF web SDR, so everyone locally is hitting that thing pretty good and fading away from me, so a little bit on the direct receive. So, and I'm not FEF as well, so changing conditions. So, yeah, Jerry here in Greenwood, Indiana. Good morning to all of you. Good evening, Craig. Good morning to both of you. And 73 Solomon has checked out. This will be my last one as well. And yeah, man, I'll tell you. As a Glen, you were talking about your tomatoes and all that food you were describing. You know, I'm going to get not only a piece of pie, but I'm going to have to make something real We had a garden. My wife loved to make that pesto tomato mozzarella stuff, and sometimes we just have it on a piece of toast, you know, like a French bread or something like that, and just made that dinner. But yeah, nothing like a good grilled piece with that kind of stuff. Boy, that sounds good. So anyway, most signals were up and down, and very sorry you're sick and having to work. We want to tell you that's no fun. I think that's my type of job, too. They don't have any excuses for getting sick. And now that I'm by myself, on this company, I can't, you know. Yeah, sometimes I think we have our priorities a little bit wrong here in the U.S. on work environment, but well, we like to have our toys too. Anyway, Ted, thanks for running the net this morning under these conditions. It's tough to do, and good to have you and good to hear everyone on. And I think I give it to Glen. Perry, correct? If I have that wrong, correct me. Maybe go ahead and check that. I didn't hear that. So N1 SNG of the old military radio net. Here comes Glen. If not against the pole. So good morning all. And 73. This is K9 going after Snopes. Jerry here in Greenwood, Indiana. Good morning.
K9GAS. Very good morning to you, Jerry. N1 SNG. And your signals hold up quite well. And very good morning to the rest of the group team, KK1K. Good luck with the new vehicle there. Sounds like you need to talk to W2ILA for any rust-proofing protection there. He seems to be the go-to person for that there. Moving on an island which is surrounded by salt water. I believe he'd have some good points for you. Very good. And thanks, Ted, for running the net as always. And again, good to have you back. And thanks for hanging in there. Another challenging morning, but things did clear up, so hopefully the weather will also. So with that, I believe it goes over to Perry, so at this time I'll send it to Perry. If not Ted, you'll have to pick it up and redirect. I believe there was another check-in. I just caught the back end of that, but anyway, everyone have a great weekend. So W3MMR to take it, possibly N1SNG 73.
Good morning, Brown.
All right, Glenn. Thanks. I hope you have a great weekend there, and we'll talk to you, I'm sure. Again real soon. And that was WB2HJK, Whiskey Bravo 2 Hotel Juliet Kilo, George up in Long Island. Trying to check in, Ted. But anyway, thanks for the kind words, Steve and Jerry, about being sick here. Yeah, I don't get sick too often. Seems like when I do, though, it's a real kick in the groin, you know. It really puts me on my butt. But number one, I can't afford to take off of work, and number two, they can't afford to have me take off. So it's a lose-lose situation. But luckily, I only work a few blocks from my house. I work 3 blocks from my house, and I can come home for lunch and lay down for an hour or so, which makes it easier, and sit in the air conditioning and relax for a little bit on my lunch break. And it's a shortened day. We get done at 4 as opposed to 6 on Saturdays, so it could be worse, I suppose. But anyway, Ted, thank you for running. You as always do a great job, and it's always a pleasure to hear you. Steve, your signal really came up that time around. Here at the QTH, 15 to 20 over, so conditions are changing. The boys from down south are starting to go away, and all you boys up here in the Northeast are starting to bomb in, more so than you guys already were. So anyway, I'll turn it over to you, Chris. I'll say 73 to everyone. I hope everyone has a great weekend. And we'll talk to you fellas, I'm sure next weekend, if not in between. Take care, guys. Over to you, Chris. Here it comes. AJ1G and the old military radio net. 3 MMR.
Yeah, very good for the W3 MMR and the old military radio net. AJ1G. Yeah, great signals all around. I think Charlie was, I don't know if Carl actually made it in there or not, but all of the New England stations are performing very well here locally. A lot of static most of the storm activity seems to be right off the Carolina coast, so it's well in our propagation range here, so that's probably what we're dealing with. A couple of things. Yeah, Glenn, you mentioned something about improving your lighting, and I'll pass on something other guys might be interested too. Over at the Westerly Home Depot this week, I imagine they probably have them all over the place. They're selling a blister pack of 8 little LED puck lights, which run on 3 AAA batteries each. And it's a very cool little system. They're kind of like touch, not touch switches, but you tap them to turn them on and off. And they have double back 3M tape, so you can stick them anywhere, like in a closet or in a storage space under your deck or something like that. And the really cool thing about them is they're they have, you can select, by how many times you tap it on a local basis. White, green, blue, and my favorite for lighting, make you look like a submarine rigging to go in the periscope. That's red. You can make them go red. And the ultimate cool factor is they operate from a little remote control you can stick in your pocket, which allows you to change the colors, change the how much time you will stay on if you forget to turn them off, and off and on all at once. And the remotes, I just verified that all the remotes work on all the lights, no matter what package they came out from. And they're only $20 for the whole set. So I'm having a lot of fun with those. I put some in the basement stairwell, which has always been a kind of a dark place in this house for 40 years. And I'm going to put one over by the oil tank gauge in the dark corner of the basement. And I'm thinking of putting some here in the shack so I can rig the shack for red and have a cool effect that way. But you might want to check those out, Glenn. They're very cool, and I suspect the batteries will last a long time, and those things are getting cheap enough anyhow. But don't have to worry about any wiring, so check them out. Other than that, let's see, something I wanted to mention, I forget now. But anyhow, enjoying retirement. Thanks, Pete. You got a great signal on the ARC 38. Beautiful audio. Sounds wonderful. Dean, you're sounding good. Yeah, Dean, that's what I was going to think of. Dodge trucks. Every time I see an older Dodge truck around, it seems they all tend to rust right above the rear fenders, above the top of the fender cutout, the wheel cutout. So water must collect there. I guess that's one area I'd really watch out for. But they all seem to do it. I've seen some relatively new ones that have had really big issues with that. I was shocked to see that, but they all seem to have that issue. I'm surprised they've never fixed it, but maybe they have in the newer ones. Sounds like you got an older one there. So I won't belabor it here. It's getting to be down the end of it. And George, WB2HJK, is trying to check in. So you might want to stick him on the tail end of the things here. Thanks for running the net. Sorry I didn't make it to run the CW net Sunday night. We were working late in the garden and then had a nice tomato and steak dinner planned on the deck, and I didn't want to miss that, and so we flew an email out. Maybe, Dean, you got that email, and someone called the net for text. So over to you, let's see, it goes to Pete, WB2JWU, or the old military radio net, AJ1G.